It's 4:40 p.m. on a Saturday, March 25, 1911. A fire starts in a scrap bin on the 8th floor of a New York City garment factory. Within 18 minutes, 146 people are dead. Some burned alive at their sewing machines. Others jumped from 9th floor windows and died on impact with the sidewalk below. A few tried to use the fire escape. It collapsed under their weight, sending them plummeting into the alley. Here's the worst part. They couldn't get out because the factory owners had locked the exit doors from the outside. On purpose. This is the story of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. And I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, who let it happen, and why their deaths changed everything about how America treats its workers. Before we start, hit subscribe. This took weeks to research, and if you care about real history told honestly, you'll want to see what else we're working on. Alright, let's go. The Triangle Shirtwaist Company made women's blouses, shirtwaists. They were popular. The factory employed about 500 people, mostly women, mostly immigrants, Italian girls, Jewish girls from Russia and Poland, some as young as 14 years old. They worked 52 hours a week, sometimes more during busy season. They made $6 to $10 per week. That's about $190 to $315 in today's money. For 52 hours of work, the factory occupied the top 3 floors of the Ash Building in Greenwich Village, 8th, 9th, and 10th floors. Picture this, long rows of sewing machines packed close together, fabric scraps everywhere. The floors were wood. The bins holding fabric scraps were wood. There were no sprinklers. The building had 2 elevators and 2 staircases, and 1 fire escape for 500 people. Let me tell you about one worker. Her name was Rosie Weiner. She was 23. She'd come from Romania 5 years earlier. She sent money back to her family every month. On March 25th, she was working on the 9th floor. Rosie didn't make it out. The owners, Max Blank and Isaac Harris, ran a tight operation. And by tight, I mean exploitative. Workers couldn't leave their stations without permission. They were searched at the end of each shift to make sure they weren't stealing fabric. The bathroom breaks were timed, and those exit doors locked from the outside during working hours. Why? Blank and Harris claimed it prevented theft. It also prevented workers from sneaking out early or taking unauthorized breaks. It kept them at their machines. 2 years before the fire, in 1909, Triangle workers went on strike. Quick thing, if this is making you angry, good. It should. Drop a like on this video so more people see it. These stories need to be told. Okay, back to March 25, 1911, 24:40 p.m. Someone tosses a cigarette or a match into a scrap bin on the 8th floor. Nobody knows who. The bin catches fire. Fabric scraps, tissue paper patterns, all bone dry. The fire spreads instantly. A worker tries to use the fire hose on the wall. The hose is rotted through, no water comes out. Within 2 minutes, the entire 8th floor is engulfed. Someone pulls the fire alarm, but it only rings on the 10th floor where management worked. It doesn't ring on the 9th floor. The workers on the 9th floor have no idea what's happening. Not until flames start coming up through the floorboards. Now, here's where it gets horrific. The 9th floor workers rush to the exits. There are 2 stairwell doors. The door to the Washington Place stairwell is locked from the outside. The other door to the Green Street stairwell opens inward. When hundreds of panicked people press against it, it won't budge. They're trapped. Some run to the elevators. The elevator operators make trip after trip, cramming people in. One operator, Joseph Zito, makes his last trip up and the elevator cables snap from the heat. He barely escapes. Now the elevators are gone too. Others find the fire escape. It's a narrow iron ladder attached to the outside of the building. It leads down to a 2nd floor skylight. Not the ground, a skylight. Women start climbing down. The fire escape was never tested for weight. It was never inspected. It pulls away from the building. Everyone on it falls. They crash through the skylight into the courtyard below. On the street below, crowds are gathering. They can see women at the windows, 9 floors up, screaming for help. The fire department arrives. They raise their ladders. The ladders only reach the 6th floor. Their safety nets can't handle someone falling from 9 stories up. The force tears right through them. So the women start jumping. They hold hands and jump in pairs. They jump alone. They jump clutching their pay envelopes because they want their families to be able to identify them. People on the street are screaming at them not to jump. But what choice do they have? Burn alive or jump? William Shepard, a reporter, was there. He wrote, "I learned a new sound that day. A more horrible sound than description can picture. It was the thud of a speeding body on a stone sidewalk. 146 people died. 123 women and girls. 23 men. The fire lasted 18 minutes. Blank and Harris made it out. They were on the 10th floor when it started. They escaped to the roof and climbed to the building next door. They didn't unlock the doors on the way out. If you're still watching, thank you. I know this is heavy, but it matters. Share this video if you think other people need to hear this story. Let's keep going. The city was in shock. A funeral march for the unidentified victims drew 120,000 people. Another 400,000 lined the streets to watch. People were furious. How did this happen? Who was responsible? Blank and Harris were charged with manslaughter. The charge was based on one victim, Margaret Schwartz, who died behind the locked Washington Place door. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The prosecution showed that the door was locked. They showed that the owners knew it was locked. They brought in survivors who testified about the locked doors and the missing fire safety equipment. The defense argued that the owners didn't personally lock the door that day. Their lawyer told the jury that if they convicted these men, they'd be destroying 2 successful businessmen over a tragic accident. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Not guilty. People rioted outside the courthouse. Blank and Harris paid no criminal penalty. Later, they lost a civil suit. They had to pay $75 per victim to the families. $75. Their insurance payout for the factory was $60,000 more than their actual losses. They profited from the fire. 2 years later, Blank was fined $20 for locking a door in his new factory. But here's what those 146 deaths bought us. A young woman named Frances Perkins witnessed the fire. She watched women jump from the windows. It changed her life. She became a labor rights activist. She pushed for new laws. And in 1933, she became the first woman to serve in a presidential cabinet. Franklin D. Roosevelt made her Secretary of Labor. She used that position to create much of America's labor law framework. Because of the Triangle Fire, New York passed 36 new workplace safety laws. Fire exits must be unlocked. During work hours, fire escapes must be structurally sound, and inspected sprinkler systems became mandatory. Fire drills became required. Maximum occupancy limits were established. The New York Fire Department gained power to inspect workplaces. These laws spread to other states. They became the foundation for OSHA, which was created in 1970. Every fire exit sign you see, every sprinkler head, every fire drill, every unlocked emergency door, they exist because 146 people burned to death when they didn't have to. There's a memorial at the site now. Brown University maintains an online archive with the names of every victim. You can read about them, who they were, where they came from, who they left behind. Here's why I made this video. This didn't happen in the distant past. 1911 was 114 years ago. Some of the survivors lived into the 1990s, and workplace deaths still happen. According to OSHA, 586 workers died on the job in the United States in 2022. That is 15 people every single day. The protections we have now, they weren't given to us. They were fought for. People died for them. If this video meant something to you, do 3 things. 1. Subscribe to this channel. We're researching more stories like this. 2. Share this video. Most people don't know this story. They should. 3. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me if there are other historical events you want covered like this. Thanks for watching, and remember the Triangle workers. They mattered.